glad that you are here with us tonight, to do our board work. I welcome you here, and we'll have invocation by Mr. Troy Haywood.
Let us pray. Dear Lord, just want to come to you tonight, Lord. Just thank you for your goodness, your grace, and your mercy, Lord. Right now we want to take a moment, Lord, just to lift up the Deals family to you, Lord. I couldn't even start to imagine, Lord, what they're going through right now, Lord. I just pray that you just wrap your arms around them, Lord, and just give them all the comfort, Lord, and the strength that they need just to make it through this difficult time, Lord. I pray, Lord, that something good would come from this tragedy, Lord, and we'll just praise you and give you the honor for how you're going to work in this situation, Lord. I ask you right now to just be with us as the board members, Lord, just to come together, Lord, and just make the decisions for the board, Lord, that'll be best for our children, Lord, and be glorifying to you as well, Lord. And we just ask you to bless this time together, Lord, and just help us to make the right decisions, Lord. Just give us wisdom, and we'll thank you and praise you for all you're doing. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The agenda has been distributed. Are there any objections to the agenda that has been distributed? This is to get it approved. There be none, the agenda is adopted by the unanimous consent. Opportunity for citizens to address the board. We have Sydney Wanzer.
Good evening. My name, merely for the record, is Cynthia Wanzer. I'm finishing up my last few days as the STEM teacher at Nevitt Forest. In the fall, I will be teaching science at Rams. However, this does not diminish my desire to see STEM education at the elementary level in A5. I have shared research-based data along with personal experiences over the last year to support the need for elementary STEM education. Up until tonight, I have tried to keep my 3 minutes about STEM education for the entire district and not just me or my position at Nevitt. Tonight, however, I will focus my comments on my personal experience. Last week, I had every intention of sharing with my students that I would not be returning to Nevitt in the fall and that STEM class would no longer exist. My initial approach was going to be to offer a diplomatic explanation suggesting that this was simply one of those difficult things that happen and that I would miss them. However, I've not been able to say those words. This hesitation stems from a feeling of having fallen short of my commitment to them. I've taught my students the value of perseverance, pushing through challenges, and striving for breakthrough and transformation. I've advocated for them and for all elementary students to have access to this critical component of their foundational education. Despite my daily efforts in the classroom and my appeals here behind this podium, we've made little tangible progress. This lack of movement has left me feeling defeated and discouraged. What has been hardest is not simply losing that position. What's hardest is facing my students. I've not found the words to tell them that I'm leaving. These are children who trust me, who look forward to STEM class, who have found success there, and who believe they would continue to have these opportunities. And if I'm honest, part of my struggle is that I feel like I've let them down, along with my coworkers whose instruction I supported. Neighboring districts have successfully implemented these programs, and I'm unclear as to why we have not. I have received no formal feedback from this governing body as a collective, though I do appreciate the short conversations I've had with some of you individually. This leaves me with what I feel is a broken promise to my students and no good explanation as to why. I know this decision may have been financial, But for our students, the impact is personal. Programs like STEM should not be extras. They're where students discover confidence, creativity, perseverance, and sometimes even the first spark of what they want to be when they grow up. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Ms. Wines.
Cindy Goldsmith. Courtney Goldsmith. I don't know why I saw Cindy.
Good evening to the board members, Dr. Kelly, district office staff, A5 employees, citizens, and guests. It's your favorite district teacher of the year again. My address to you tonight is twofold. I first want to start with an attitude of gratitude and say thank you. Thank you for listening to the concerned teachers, staff, parents, and community members at Robert Anderson Middle School. Oftentimes, people just want to be heard, even if there's not a readily available solution for problems or issues. I want to say thank you to Dr. Kelly and her staff for hosting coffee and conversations at Rams and all of the schools in A5. The food and beverages were delicious, and the conversations that were ignited was just the spark our school needed going into next year. I've learned that effective leadership relies heavily on actively seeking and valuing feedback, and the best leaders are those who know how to ask rather than just tell. Secondly, I want to clarify something that's been spread throughout our school, community, and on social media. As we all are aware, Robert Anderson is the largest middle school in A5. I won't get into exact numbers, but we are twice the size of Glenview and McCants and about the size of a high school. The issue is not the amount of students that are in our individual classes. The issue is the amount of students total in the building and the amount of staff we have. This great amount affects transitions between classes, to and from lunch, and related arts, and dismissal. We do appreciate and say a huge thank you for the additional staff that will be part of our RAM fam next year. I'm not sure the process behind those decisions, but thank you times a million. I do ask that we continue to look at solutions for the size of Rams, whether it be a new middle school, an intermediate school to serve only 5th and 6th grade students for the Westside cluster to alleviate the issues, or a 6th grade academy building behind the current school similar to the freshman academy at Westside. By continuing this work together, we not only make a difference with the teachers, staff, administration, and community members, we make a significant impact on our students, the true reason behind our daily investment in Anderson 5. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Ms. Goldsmith.
Thank you. Appreciate both of you. Superintendent's report, monthly financial report, instructional professional development plan for 2026, 2027.
Yes, ma'am. Madam Chair, the monthly financial report was provided in the board packet disseminated on Friday, May 15th, 2026. Mrs. Hurd is available to answer any questions you all might have. No questions? Okay. All right, we will be moving on to the next item under Superintendent's Report. Madam Chair, I'm going to ask Kelly Elrod, she's our Assistant Superintendent of Instruction, to come forward. She is going to present the Instructional Professional Development Plan for the 26-27 school year. I want to publicly say thank you to Ms. Elrod. She has taken on a year of new math curriculum, new ELA curriculum, and new math standards, and she has just been a bold leader, helping our teachers understand that and helping them implement that. So, Ms. Elrod, thank you to you and your team. We are seeing great results, and I appreciate all of that. So, Ms. Elrod's going to talk about what we're going to do further to even enhance what we've already started. Thank you, Ms. Elrod.
Thank you, and thank you to the board and to Dr. Kelly for the acknowledgement, but it's really the teachers in the classroom. They took on all of the training this year and took it on, and I didn't hear a lot of the complaints. I'm sure there may have been a lot from the standpoint of it being so much, but they have done a great job with it, and very proud of some of the returns that we're having on that investment. So just want to share with you a little brief excerpt from what I sent out in an email on Thursday afternoon to all staff members in the district to let you know about the beginning of the school year next year. We are still plugging right along for the next few days till we get through graduation on Friday, with the charter school being our last graduation. But just wanted to let you know what we're planning for next year. We have, with the new law, with Educator Assistance Act, we have set aside our 2 days at the beginning of the year for teachers to strictly work in their room. No PD, no pull for additional meetings. They have this in their possession now, so they can start planning on what that first week back looks like for them. The first day is usually a day that schools get back together and talk about the beginning of the school year, things that they're taking on as school initiatives, district initiatives. We are working on UDL next year as our primary focus for professional development, which they were introduced to, all teachers were introduced to on March the 13th this past spring, to front load that information and kind of give us a kickstart into next year. But that is Universal Design for Learning, which enhances Tier 1 instruction in every classroom, regardless if they are sitting in kindergarten, 8th grade, or a CTE classroom in our district. They will have an opportunity to have Universal Design for Learning, which means it levels the playing field for all of our students sitting in that room and how the information is presented at that time. So that if there's a visual learner in that classroom, they have an opportunity to have exposure to our curriculum in their mode of learning. If it's an auditory learner, they have an opportunity to get strategies and structure of the lesson presented to them in the best way that they learn. So I just wanted to give you this as an opportunity to look at this. Once again, teachers had this on Thursday afternoon late. And then one other highlight that I wanted to bring back is we have also built back in conference day at the elementary school and the middle schools on that October PD day, because we felt like that was a huge asset to us coming back in, and teachers were asked to do that, and so they need the time available to them, and we will just flip-flop that day with the January 4th day so that high schools can make that transition to the second semester for their final grades ending up and getting everything switched over. So I'll be happy to take any questions.
Yeah, you mentioned the January 4th. My only concern there is the end of the 9 weeks would have been the last day in December, correct? So we're coming back and we got report cards. So are the elementary and middle going to have an opportunity? They'll only have a half a day to get work on that.
They'll have the half a day there, but we also moved the date out like we did this year based on what the schools request. Like, for example, we won't have it necessarily a work day, like their days to have stored grades, is what I'm
Right.
trying to say, Mr.
Right.
Dees.
Right.
You understand that
Right.
terminology, so, yes, stored grades will be moved out for them, yes.
Okay.
Okay? Yes, sir.
One quick question related to the beginning of the school year. Is there sort of a deadline for when teachers have the IEPs for the associated students in those
As
classes?
far as their accommodations in the
Right.
classrooms that they need, we try to get that all to them within the first few days of back to school and
Okay.
planning, because the special education teachers don't necessarily know what homerooms those students are sitting in at that time until they get back and get those rosters.
Okay.
So they get those printed and get those out. But once that rollover happens with our system now with Ed Plan, teachers can go in and see all of the students on their roll to know if there's any type of intervention plan in place or accommodations for IEPs.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
One other question, Ms. Elrod. State regulation requires that out of these 10 days, that 5 of them, am I correct, have to be work days?
That changed a little bit with EAA.
Okay.
So there's some flexibility with that, with them having the 2 at the beginning. That is the main focus of that
Yeah.
law, was that 2 days before school start has to be for the preparation of school.
And that is important, but during the school year, with all the work that has to be done, especially those that are doing the letters training and things like that, that where you got .5 district, .5 school, if that's always covered, or if the school is always covering up or having teachers to use that day for PD, which you need some of that, but they've got to have an opportunity to do work too.
Yes, sir.
So let's make sure we keep that
And
balanced.
as far as the letters, we have a very small number that are left working through that process this year. We're in year 2 with that last group. It's 4th and 5th grade.
Mhm.
So we hope to build in some of that opportunity too.
Right. So, yeah, that was a lot
It was a
because,
lot. And it was really difficult the way it was staggered, the state staggered it in.
mhm.
It didn't put everyone doing the same thing at the same time. It had priority schools that started first.
Right.
And then everyone else kind of had to catch up on that. So from the district level, I walked into it and there were groups at all different places.
Right.
And Shelley Blaylock did an amazing job keeping up with that.
The MOU that the State Department puts out for the districts and the school and the teachers, what's required, memorandum of understanding, is that, you know, the teachers are supposed to be given time to do letters during the school day. I don't think there was a lot of opportunity. I know there was some training, but I know a lot was done, a lot has been done on their own. So we need to be cognizant of those types of things.
Yes, sir, and I do believe the state is looking at
A math training.
science of math coming down the road too.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Mhm. Okay, minutes approval. The minutes of the April 21st meeting have been distributed. Are there any corrections?
Yes, Madam Chair, there is a correction on page 4. We've just got a few too many extra words. At the bottom of page 4, it says Mr. K made a motion to postpone consideration. I say we delete the first to postpone consideration, so we only have it once.
Yes, sir. Ms. Wright noticed that earlier today, and she sent you all an email prior to the board meeting letting you know that she had found that.
Oh, thank you.
Any objections to the corrections? There being none, the correction is made. Are there any further corrections? There being none, further corrections, the minutes are approved as corrected. Okay, then we had the special minutes from May 7th. The minutes of May 7th, the special meeting have been distributed. Are there any correction for those May 7th? There being none, the minutes are approved as distributed. Okay, now we're down to okay. The next item of business is policy IKF, second reading.
Madam Chair, Policy IKF is being presented to the Board of Trustees for second reading. The following revisions, additions, and removals have been implemented to modernize the policy and ensure compliance with state law. The following numerical adjustments have been made. Economics changed from 1/2 to 0.5 units. U.S. government changed from 1/2 to 0.5 units. Electives adjusted from 7 to 6.5 units. The following removals have been made. Terminology replaced the word junior with the designation J. Keyboarding provision removed the bulleted item regarding the 1/2 unit of keyboarding credit previously applied toward the computer science requirement. New sections have been added to address specific student populations and legal mandates. Information regarding graduating early and early graduates reads as students seeking approval for either graduating early, graduating at the end of 6 semesters of high school, or being an early graduate, graduating at the end of 7 semesters of high school, should be, at minimum, deemed career-ready based upon the requirements of South Carolina Department of Education and outlined in the profile of the South Carolina high school graduate. Information regarding unit requirements for adult education students receiving a diploma. It reads, adult education. For adult education students receiving a diploma, the unit requirements are distributed as follows. Subject credit units: English Language Arts 4, Mathematics 4, Science 3, U.S. History and Constitution 1, Economics .5, U.S. Government .5, Other Social Studies 1, Computer Science, including keyboarding 1, electives 9, for a total of 24. Participation in commencement exercises: South Carolina High School Certificate, Certificate of Attendance presented to special education students, and additionally inclusion of Section 592917 requiring personal finance instruction. And that law states, Section 592917 require completion of basic personal finance coursework.
Is there a motion
Second.
It's been moved and second to approve the policy IKF on the second reading. Is there any discussion? The question is on the approval of the policy IKF. Those in favor, raise your hand. Those opposed, those in favor, raise your hand. Those opposed, raise your hand. The ayes have it. Have it, and the motion is adopted. Okay. Employee survey, is that it? No, 36th Annual National Dropout Prevention Conference.
Yes, ma'am, Madam Chair. Each year, members of the Anderson 5 Board of Trustees attend the annual National Dropout Prevention Conference. I am requesting board approval for members to attend the 36th Annual National Dropout Prevention Conference, which will be held October 11th through 14th, 2026 in Orlando, Florida. In accordance with Policy BID, all out-of-state travel must receive prior board approval.
Madam Chair, I make a motion that we approve the superintendent's request to provide the opportunity for board members to attend the 36th Annual National Dropout Prevention Conference.
I'll second it.
It's been approved and second that they are in favor. Oh, it's approved and second to, is there any debate?
I had a question. So we're okaying this for anyone that wants to go, or do we need to know who wants to go?
If you would all tell us, that would be great. Early bird registration, I know that's a funny way to say that, but we get a discount if we register before next month. And so if you would like to attend, I will be planning to attend, and the two high school principals will be attending. Mr. Roberts and Mr. Roberts will be attending as well. So if you all would like to attend, if you would let us know, myself or Ms. Wright, and then we'll be glad to get you registered.
I'm not gonna be able to go, but I certainly recommend it to any board member that wants to go. I've been in the past, and it's a fantastic conference.
Is there a debate on this? Okay. Those in favor, raise your hands. Those opposed, raise yours. Is aye, and the motion is adopted. Okay. Section 3-4. Employee survey.
Yes, Madam Chair, I'd ask for that to be placed on the agenda simply because we've talked about it numerous times in the past. It was postponed indefinitely in order for the superintendent to collect her data from coffee and conversations. I know we haven't heard that or seen that yet, other than a brief time looking over feedback that she got from the schools, which was great. But because it's a part of the budget, it's a line item, I wanted to put it there. I didn't want to take for granted that if the budget passes with that in it on first reading, that was saying that we were going to do the survey. I just wanted to get clarification and make sure that everybody either wants the survey, wants to do the survey, sponsored by the board, an employee survey, that's for everyone, or not. So making a motion that we approve the employee survey.
I'll second it.
Is there a second? Okay, there any questions? I have one. I have some. Well, I understand. If she's done this, she hadn't given us the results of it. Could we wait until we get the results of what she has before we go into the survey? Because it's gonna cost us some money to have this survey.
Correct.
So if we can see what she has done and what has come out of this survey, then what we'll do is, if we don't think, that's not enough, or we're afraid that people didn't do what they were supposed to do, then let's have this other survey. But I understand what you're saying before it goes in, because we don't know how much this money is gonna be for somebody to do this survey for us. It may be $10,000.
Correct. That's, yeah, I've done a lot of research. There are many, many companies. And in looking at that, and these companies that do, and a lot of Fortune 500 companies do surveys, and there are a lot of companies that service them with surveys, and there's many types of surveys. And what we're talking about is an annual survey and just doing it one time a year. Some companies do it 2 times a year, and then there's things called pulse surveys that companies give a survey every week or every other week to get the pulse of the employees. The fact remains that all of these companies, without question, cite the research that employees that are content and happy in their work, satisfied in their workplace, their work-life balance is good, are better employees. So, but I don't mind postponing it. Do we have an ETA, an estimated time of
Yes, Ms. Lee and Ms. Wright have been working diligently. They've completed transposing all information that was shared by employees that took that opportunity for all schools except 3. So they are completed. That should be completed within the next week or so, and so I'll send that to you before the meeting next time.
or before the June? Okay.
Yes.
All right, and there's really, in doing my research, what Dr. Kelly did was great. It put her in front of employees. It allowed the employees to access her, which a lot of times superintendents aren't that available. And I commend her for doing that. But that type of survey is more conversational and anecdotal. What we're looking at is an employee survey that's going to be more standardized, with standardized questions, data that we can take action on, that we can actually get results that could be used as a needs assessment. So nonetheless, I don't mind withdrawing the motion and waiting until, as long as we get it on the agenda, go ahead and make a note to put it on the agenda for next time.
Okay.
Yeah, I would encourage Mr. Dukes, if you could, maybe bring back, I mean, we've heard survey. I just heard surveying several times a week.
Yeah.
I'm not for that.
No, I'm not.
But-
And our
but-
teachers would not be for that, any
but-
employee.
We don't know what kind of survey we're even talking about. We don't know what kind of questions are on it. We don't know how much it costs. I would encourage you to get a little bit more information before we take a vote so that we know what we're voting on.
That would be great. And I had all that ready to go in November, and it was sidelined. So I'll be happy to bring that back. There's a lot of unanswered questions because it needs to be developed. So, but we would be, what I'd asked for in November, what I was shooting for in November was approving the concept, and then from December or January forward, moving through the process of the spring, identifying how we would do it, what it would cost, things like that. But be happy to do that. We'll bring it back next time. Be happy to make a short presentation and take any questions that you may have.
Okay.
I'd like to make a motion. Could we make a committee? A motion to get a committee to work on a survey?
I think we have a motion.
You have some limitations on your committees in your bylaws about what kind of committees you can have, so it'd just be, make sure that any committees are.
I would, can I speak to Ms. Burris?
Yes.
That I think it would be perfect for a work session. That way we wouldn't have to actually, our bylaws or our policies don't allow a committee of that nature, but we could certainly do a work session.
Okay, but right now, I think what we'll do, we'll just go ahead and wait for the superintendent's survey that she has, and then put it back on the agenda.
Okay. But I will remind the board that that $10,000 is a line item. So I don't want to conflate that if we approve the budget, that's approving the survey. I don't want to make that assumption. So that's why I want to make sure we get it on record that the survey is approved specifically. And then we'll do that next time.
Madam Chair, may I ask Mr. Dukes a question. Mr. Dukes, what's your vision for when such a survey would be rolled out?
I've actually discussed that with the superintendent, and she's talked to her principals. Between Thanksgiving and Christmas is usually a good time, and I think Greenville does theirs. They do 10,000 employees. They do it twice a year. The first one is about at that time, if I'm not mistaken.
I would just say finally that I certainly respect the desire for the board members to know what they're voting on, but it seems like there would need to be a loose framework approved. For example, a board employee or a board-directed survey that was anonymous, confidential, created by a special work session of the board and rolled out at a certain time. I don't think we would be able to, I don't know that we would be asking Mr. Dukes to, on his own, develop an entire survey for us to approve. You agree with that?
I agree. I think just a loose framework so that we know what we're voting on. And then in a work session, gathering the questions, the kind of questions, those kind of things. It might take 2 work sessions. It might take 3 work sessions. But and I would like to talk to the company, a representative of the company that would do the survey.
Because they pick the questions, right? Not
Well,
us.
my vision would it not be an off-the-shelf type of survey. There's plenty of those. I think it needs to be customized for our district because we have initiatives and we have priorities and we have things that we that the folks are doing in the schools and in the district that we need feedback on.
We've proven that we could talk about one question for 2 or 3 hours.
True.
I
Yes,
mean,
true.
So, we might want to plan some time to get the survey together if we decide.
And in the meantime, like I said, it's an easy Google, it's an easy internet search. There are companies that do it, both for like Fortune 500 companies and school districts, and there are sample questions out there. So being able to come up with categories of questions. I mean, you may have academics, you may have safety, you may have buildings and grounds, et cetera. Having anywhere from 50. I think the state survey is around 70 questions, so 50 to 75 questions, anonymous. That's a non-negotiable, according to every site that I've been to. It's non-negotiable, it has to be anonymous and confidential. So
My suggestion would be just let board members submit questions that they think individually. Let's compile them, kind of go through those and kind of see what we're looking for. I mean, everybody's gonna have different opinions on what we need to ask. And I think we just kind of come up with 9 of us, come up with a few questions each, and then have a work session and go through those and see which ones need to apply and not.
I have been approached by teachers who have volunteered to be on a committee to help write questions, and I think some others have as well. But that's something we could decide.
Yes, I would highly encourage that a panel of employees be part of the committee to establish the questions. Because they're in the ditches, they know what needs to be addressed.
Very good point.
Well, I won't discuss, I'm confused, because when you said survey, that you would get these people to do it, now you're like, we're talking, we can do it because we can ask some questions.
Well, they just compile the questions and the results. We just come up with questions we want to ask. And then they compile it into a test form and compile the data.
Is that not what you did?
Yes, ma'am. What I did is I left it open-ended. So I spent 2 hours at each site, and I did serve them food because our teachers deserve it and they need it, and it was delicious. So I did serve them food, and I stayed there. I went to every site an hour before the school opened, and then I stayed an hour after school opened. And I put 2 posters up, one that said strengths and one that says challenges. And anybody that was there, I spoke to them and said, if you feel comfortable, I would love for you to share what's going well in our district that's helping our children achieve and it's helping you teach our students. And then what are areas that we need to look at that we need to strengthen. And I told them, the posters are gonna be here all day, sticky notes will be here all day. When I leave, tell people who aren't able to stop by, please, give us your insight, tell us what's going well, what's not. And then the next day, Ms. Wright would go and pick up the posters. So, they did not have to put them there. I encouraged them not to put them there while I was there, because I said, really, it's too early in the morning for us to really think and reflect. So take time throughout the day, and we did that in every site, and we culminated that event here at the district office. So we invited bus drivers, we invited maintenance, we invited grounds crew. Every employee had the opportunity to participate and provide some feedback.
We'll do that for our next agenda. We'll put that on, and then you will have that information that you've already done. Now we're down to FY 2026-27 budget
Did we
presentation.
withdraw your motion? I did. Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
First reading.
sorry.
Yes,
Let's
ma'am.
look at
Madam
that.
Chair, Mrs. Hurd incorporated the information shared and voted on during the special called budget meeting held on May 7th, 2026, and has prepared the first reading of the 26-27 budget. We appreciate Ms. Hurd for her excellent work and dedication through this process, and so Ms. Hurd, we'll turn it over to you.
All right, Dr. Kelly, members of the board, good evening.
Good evening.
If I had have talked to you, any of you at 12:30 or 1 o'clock today, I would have said, we are ready to go. I am working on the county board budget booklet, just waiting on first reading, and we were gonna get it done tomorrow and get it finalized to them. And about
I can't do this.
a little bit after 1 o'clock, that email came in that I needed to come in about 2 weeks ago that said, here are your Senate projections. And I was like, okay, here we go. We're gonna see what we're doing. And, so opened up those projections and started looking at some different calculations that from the state, and everything was matching. I was looking, House and Senate was the same, and I was like, this just can't be right. Like, so my counterpart, all 5 counterparts get on the phone, and we're like, what's your numbers look like? Mine the same. Mine are the same too. What is going on? Well, so of course, we reached out to the state to say the numbers didn't change between the House and the Senate version, which that wasn't that big a deal, because they stayed pretty consistent on what they were thinking between the two budgets. But the 145th day versus the 135th day numbers is where I expected to see a change. Well, then that's when the state came back at 3:23 this afternoon to everybody in the state and said, we forgot to tell y'all one piece of information. Yes, we gave you the link to see what your numbers were, but we forgot to tell you that we also adjusted the House budget on that link for the State Department. So you can't look at that. You need to go find the original link we gave you back in March and then look at what we gave you today, and that'll be the difference. So I'm gonna start, so you had, everybody, the audience was able to pick this up, it was outside. These are just some highlights that we have talked about since January on our budget. The first sheet, again, is what I compiled last night. It was, again, based on all of the information that we had. Starting before the state gave us that information, we had $165 million budget, 2.73% increase. It was based on the House. No millage increase for our taxpayers. Salary schedules were all being increased by $2,000. Eligible employees would receive a step. We reduced our out-of-district tuition for folks that would like to come into Anderson 5. We did our teacher-people ratio calculation, did our line item budget. We looked at our savings from folks that had retired or resigned and positions that we had eliminated. We talked about all of the things that we had added. And so that's where we were. But if you'll flip over to the second page, this is what we found out at 3 o'clock today. And for the folks in the audience that don't have this, I'm sorry, who got this up? This is the worksheet that the board has been seeing since we started, just to try to keep the projections the same so you would know what you were looking at. Sorry, I didn't print these in color, but if you look on the screen, you can see that if it is shaded in gold, those are the numbers that have changed since our meeting on May 7th until today. What I sent out to you when we balanced the budget was that we did change the investment income line from $174,000 to $673, the number over here under column G. But with the additional revenue today, we've been able to change that down to 524,000. Then you come down here, the two other shaded line items, that's the additional revenue that we received from the state today. And again, if you look over to the right, that is the two numbers that you have been seeing, since really late March. And that's the $1.349 million difference right there. So of course, Dr. Kelly's in a meeting today, I get this information and I'm in a complete panic about, we have a couple hours before this board meeting, and for 3 months I've been waiting on this, and I get it the day, a couple hours before the board meeting, what do we do? And so obviously we want to be transparent, y'all knew we were waiting on this, and we did get it. And so Dr. Kelly said, let's go back to the list that schools had asked for and things that we knew was needed in our schools that will impact the classroom the most, and see what we can go ahead and get. So the proposal that you have is to use that additional funding to add 6 additional elementary math interventionists. What that would do is, you remember that we changed the digital integration specialists. We changed 5 of the digital integration specialists over to math coaches. Math interventionists, and because they are gonna work with students, they're not gonna coach teachers, they're actually gonna work with students. We had 5 of those, and so now adding these 6 additional interventionists will mean that every elementary school has a reading coach and a math interventionist. Additionally, I know that we've been talking about it a good bit with Robert Anderson and their elementary behavioral specialist at the middle school level. But in talking to teachers and what Dr. Kelly has been hearing, we were trying to find a way that we could put behavioral interventionists in the elementary school as well. So Dr. Kelly May can speak to this better than me. But I know some of you have teachers or in your family, and sometimes kids have a meltdown and just need a different environment for a few minutes. And then this would give, we have that already at the middle schools and the high schools. This would give a behavioral interventionist for every elementary school that would help with, they still do academic instruction in there, but maybe it's just that they need to pull a child out of the classroom to de-escalate and regulate. And so this would be helping with behavioral issues in all of our elementary schools as well. So that is our proposal for how to spend the additional money that we received. It still would be a balanced budget, but what's new that you haven't seen in the past is the 6 math interventionists and the 11 behavior interventionists. And as Mr. Duke said, we will put if this is first reading, if a decision is not made by June 30th, then we will put the line item in the budget for the survey. If the board chooses to go a different direction, we will come back to the board at that point and let you guys tell us how to move those funds to whatever you would like them moved to. But to Ms. Leverett's point, yes, $10,000 is set aside in here, and we can put it in the budget, and if you go a different route, then we can absolutely let you guys tell us how to allocate it at that time.
So I still have a question about interventionists. Our interventionist is a scripted program, is that correct?
No, sir. The math interventionists, they're all certified, and it is not a scripted program. Ms. Elrod, do you want to speak to what the math interventionists at each elementary school will be utilizing as far as curriculum?
And none of them are certified?
They're all
They're
certified.
all certified?
Yes,
Okay.
sir. They're all
The
certified.
5 that we have are certified teachers. Experts in their field, I could go down the list and tell you exactly who they are and right now where they'll be working between 2 schools. So they are there to provide interventions as the principal sees fit. I gave the recommendation to start in 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade because those are our tested grade levels at an elementary school, which I know seems a little bit counteractive, but that is where we're measured. And so we talked about the fact that they would be pulling through the iReady math curriculum the intervention pieces there and adding to that for ways that they could bridge the gap, utilizing the information out of our diagnostic, which is iReady Inform, and taking lessons from there and teaching them in small groups to close those gaps of understanding for mathematical concepts.
And I will say, Miss Elrod, with that plan, that was the original plan when we were sharing.
That's
Now that we've had this additional money, and when Amy called, I was elated. I was so excited. We have this additional money. We could be able to then do K through 5 at that time. Now there'll be someone permanently there the entire
We
time.
did not have anyone for Homeland
Right.
Park
Right.
based on being 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade, so this would also give Homeland Park that opportunity.
And this extra money is money that we can expect every year.
Yes,
That was my question.
Yes, as of right now, I say yes. It is coming through the state aid to classroom, so it is coming through the formula. But it is not one-time money, it isn't, it's just like with the teacher
Okay.
raise and everything else that we get. Now, they can always change their regulations next year and it go away, and we obviously would have to consider that. But they didn't come any caveat today, because when I called Dr. Kelly, the first thing I said was, this is too good to be true. And I said, can we wait just a little while? And again, we got 2 more emails after that initial email that said, guys, this is accurate, it is right. And why y'all are all so confused is because we didn't tell you we updated the numbers on you, a week or 2 ago in the House version. And so they have reassured all the finance folks that the numbers are not going to change for this year. So we do feel good we're gonna get this money.
Other behaviors, you said something about some other behavior.
Behavioral interventionist would be at the elementary level. That would be a non-certified teaching assistant that would be there for 185 days. The math interventionists are certified teachers pulling students that need math interventions.
And these behavior interventionists are doing what?
They are working with classroom teachers. So if a classroom teacher is trying to teach her 18 to 21 to 25 children, and there's a student that possibly has had a rough morning, possibly is frustrated, angry, upset, and just needs some time to self-regulate, talk through some things, this person would be available to come, get that child, help that child to de-escalate, work with that child one-on-one with their academic instruction, at the same time allowing the teacher and the other students to move forward as well. So it really helps all kids at the same time meet them where their needs are. And I'd like to add something additional about the math interventionist. As we looked at our data, and I've said this before, but I'm going to say it again, our 7th and 8th grade math teachers do a phenomenal job. When you look at the data compared to SC Ready last year for our similar districts, so districts that have 5% more poverty than us and 5% less, they are number 1. They are number 1, 7th and 8th grade math teachers. So we don't have a math issue in 7th and 8th grade. What we have are children, and I have math teachers in the audience, that when they're coming from elementary, there's just some foundational gaps there. And so it truly is that we just need more hands for our kids. And having these math interventionists will truly help our kids, and it will help our teachers. We talk about our teachers and their burnout. Well, they're burnout because they're passionate, and they want to help every child succeed. Well, when you have 18, 21, 25, and they could be on 12 to 15 to 20 different levels, having somebody they know to say, all right, Dr. Kelly, will you please take this group and work on this standard, they're missing this piece. Or that math interventionist looking at the data with them and them determining it. I just think this is a critical point in time for us. We've seen great gains in ELA, but I think that's because we've had a lot of ELA interventionists, and we've had a lot of our reading coaches working with kids, and it's time for us to focus on math. And so with that being said, I'd highly encourage, and hopefully you'll support, this additional 6 math interventionists at the elementary level, because not only will the elementary level thank you, but I think the middle school teachers will thank you as well. So,
Madam Superintendent, what was the point made about did we say that each elementary school has a reading coach?
Yes.
Now, since when? I mean,
2015?
okay.
yeah, Act 284, whenever it went into play.
Okay.
Yes.
Mr. Dukes, you might.
I don't recall a year, it was
Yeah.
about that time.
Yes.
But only half of their time could be spent with students, and I'm not sure how how they're programmed
Okay.
now, currently.
And then these suggestions for the math interventionists and the behavior interventionists, those were on a list of something that was requested by schools, or that's your recommendation?
Those came from a combination of lists needing additional services and help. I know when we talked about the DISs, the digital integration specialists, and taking those positions and utilizing them in a variety of roles, It was said, we only have 5, that means my school doesn't have a full-time person. I'm losing a full-time DIS and not having full-time coverage. So it's a combination of things that have been requested on their budget sheets, but also through conversations when we've talked with them.
Thank you.
Can I say one other thing? I strongly support the elementary math and behavior interventionists. I'm so glad to see every bit of the extra money we have went directly into the classroom to help educate our kids and help our teachers get through the days. But there was one thing we added last work session that caused our budget to change a little bit.
Yes, sir.
Getting this extra money, did it help with
It
those?
did, but we had balanced it.
Right, we had
elsewhere.
balanced it, but do we need to do that?
We did, that's where I changed it right up here, if you look at this. Initially, we needed 670, we ultimately balanced it through investment income, just being transparent. We balanced it through investment income. And we have a large balance, in the capital projects fund, and the investment income comes into the general fund. So as long as that money is staying there, we're still gonna be drawing the investment income, so I felt good about this number. So we talked to Dr. Kelly, she gave me the recommendations for those 2 positions, the 2 sets of positions there. The difference between 673 and 524, that was used to balance the budget here. So we were able to reduce it $150,000 from our investment income.
Great, thank you.
Yes, sir. And just one other thing that did change, but you guys saw it when I emailed it out right after our last board meeting on May 7th. We did change the personnel changes line item to add some savings there from a position. That obviously did not change, but that's how we balanced the budget after the salary recommendations was through the additional personnel changes and the investment income.
Thank you.
Do you have on this sheet also what you're paying those behavior interventions?
They would be teaching assistants, it'd come off the teaching assistant pay. And what I used to calculate and estimate was a 4-year teaching assistant degree at step 15. But obviously, when Ms. Buffer interviews and hires the positions, it would be based on their skills at that time, but it would be coming from the teaching assistant schedule.
So we've got 17 people to hire according to this, correct, if we approve this?
Yes, sir.
Which is great, but how hard is it gonna be to find math interventionists?
Ms. Elrod, do you want to speak to that?
Can I mention one thing before she does? Also, I'd like to know, I saw where we've got just about one special education assistant job listed, posted, more than I had ever seen just for special education assistants. About 1 to every 2 schools that we're hiring. Is there a reason that we're doing that? Was that in the budget, or is it just we've lost that many, or?
Ms. Buffer, do you want to speak to the vacancies you have for special education teaching assistants?
So that is the difference in the SPED departments and changes that they made in the SPED department this year. So it's within their normal budget, but because they made some changes with some other positions, they are now able to add part-time special ed teaching assistants. So that's what you're seeing.
So those are in addition to what we already have?
So some of the positions.
Or vacancies?
We have, yes, we have moved those to the general budget and placed those people. So it's just a change within their budget
Yeah,
of the personnel that we have.
thank you.
Ms. Elrod, would you speak to the hiring that you've already done with the math interventionists and what that possibly would look like with additional 6?
So 3 of our digital integration specialists with their years in elementary schools opted to be a part of the math intervention program. And we gave them choices. Ms. Buffer worked with them on openings across the district, and in the end, they wanted to be a part of the math intervention. The remaining ones and what we would be looking for would be good, strong elementary teachers that have the pedagogy that they need to be able to go through those gaps in for math instruction, to be able to understand the curriculum as it stands, So unfortunately or fortunately, we may have some sitting classroom teachers to apply for those positions.
Okay, thank you.
Madam Superintendent, I certainly can appreciate and understand the downstream effects you can get in the middle schools and high schools from, doing this work in the elementary schools. My question would be, did Robert Anderson Middle School have similar type requests that were on their list that didn't get met, that you can remember? And it's fine if you don't. Sorry to put
I'd
you on
have
the
to
spot.
pull it up because we have a Google Sheet that has at least 4 or 5 tabs for every school, for technology, professional development, personnel.
Right.
I'd have to pull it up, so I'd hate
Okay.
to say, but I'll pull that up after the meeting and I'll sit down with you and talk about that.
Final comment, Mr. Bradshaw was correct. I love exactly what he said. It's a good balance between academics and behavior is becoming more and more of an issue. Just seems like to be more and more. So I think that'll be a welcome addition to the schools.
Turn all the discussion.
I love sharing good news.
Thank you, Ms. Hurd.
So we have FY 2026-2027 budget presentation. This is the first reading. Is there a motion?
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the first reading of the budget just presented, the 26-27 budget.
Second.
Okay, we have moved and second to approve the first reading of the 2026-27 budget. Is there any discussion?
I would just like to state that I'm going to vote no for now, just until I have an understanding about how any such request coming out of Robert Anderson might be met with this excess funding that we have here. And I certainly appreciate the superintendent's recommendation and work on where to allocate that funding. It's not a no support. I just want to make sure I understand before I vote on this budget.
The question is now on the floor for any further discussion. The question is now on the floor for first reading of the budget. Those in favor, raise your hand. Those opposed?
Well,
One.
I think I would like
Oh,
to,
two.
I think I would like to wait on the Robert
We've
Anderson
got
thing
two.
too.
Okay, so the ayes have it, and so the first reading is adopted. Okay, could I get a motion to go into executive session?
So moved.
You have a requirement of something legal you have to read for FOIA.
That's what I asked you about reading it.
Madam Chair, I make a motion that we go into executive session to discuss section 30-4-70A2, receipt of legal advice regarding contractual and building programs, A, miracle Hill proposal, B, adult education property, C, AIT governance. Section B, to discuss section 470A1, discussion of employment, appointment, compensation, promotion, demotion, discipline, or release of an employee, student, or person regulated by a public body. A, personnel recommendations. B, personnel resignation. C, student matter.
I'll second it.
Motion and any objections?
No objection, right?
No objection, we are now in executive
motion if you want to do the signage,
I'll do
celebrity,
the exception for
the student.
no, the
If it
exception
wasn't
for
Zug, what would we do? Stay in executive meeting?
No,
Mr. Zug, what would we do, stay in executive meeting?
Tell me all these motions.
Yeah. What?
I just wanna make sure all the motions are, who's covering all the motions?
But she ain't, she said she is down. 'Cause- Might as well.
Is that okay?
I think he wants that.
Oh, Lord Jesus.
Gotten firewood already.
Okay. We're out of executive session, so actions are necessary for items for executive section 347, the receipt of legal advice regarding contractual and building, programs.
Madam Chair, I make a motion that we give Mr. West and the superintendent the approval to go ahead with the signage change at Project Challenge Playhouse. Removal of the Project Challenge Playhouse signage.
I'll second it.
I just have the motion that she gave me here, so I didn't know if it had that on there. Okay, it is moved and second to remove the signage of the Project Channel Playhouse. Is there a discussion on it? Any debate? Any further question, discussion?
I would like to say, I'd like to see them still be able to rent the facility.
Just talking about the signage, just not talking about renting nothing.
Okay.
The question is, on the motion to remove the signage of the Project Challenge Playhouse. Those in favor, raise your hand. Those opposed, likely is raise your hand. So it has been moved, the motion is passed.
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion that we waive our rules for the hiring of Noah Hamby at Teal House.
Second.
Waiving our policy.
Waiving our policy.
Second.
I don't know nothing what you're talking about.
The nepotism.
Family member, we're gonna approve the co-family member.
Whatever you got out here, that's what I say. I don't know what you're talking about. What- It is moved and second to waive policy to allow the hire. Is there a discussion? Is there a discussion?
Yeah, it's excuse me, just for the, secretary, policy GBEA, staff ethics, conflicts of interest, is the policy that we would be waiving.
Is this the child that you're talking about?
It's the teacher they're recommending for a social studies position at Teal.
And we didn't do the rest of them? Why are we just doing her?
Because his brother is the graduation coach.
Okay, gotcha. Well, the question. Okay, the question is on the motion to waive the policy to allow the hire. Those in favor, raise your hand. Those who don't, raise your hands. Did you raise your hand for anything, Ms. Burris?
Mm-hmm, I
You
did.
did? Okay. The ayes, has it, and the motion is passed. Okay, what's the next one?
Madam Chair, I make a motion that we accept the personnel recommendations presented by Mrs. Blufford.
I'll second.
Okay. Okay, you got a second. Is there any questions, discussions? No discussion? Oh, okay. So it's moved that we would, the question is on the floor for the waiver
To, policy accept the recommendations.
accept the recommendations. Raise hands.
For clarity, I would request that Madam Chair state that motion again before we take a vote for the formal record.
Well, it must be discussion of it.
Accept the recommendations of the new hires, of the personnel.
Oh, the question is,
Accept the recommendations.
to
of
accept the
personnel.
recommendations, a question of hire. And that's because of the families. Is that what that was? Because of the,
We've
This is
covered
for-
that one, Madam Chair.
well, which
We're
one
now-
we on now, Mr.?
Madam Chair, respectfully, we're talking about all of the personnel recommendations that Ms. Bufford presented to us, aside from the one that was singled out.
So accept the accept the recommendations of personnel.
Accept the recommendation of personnel. All in favor? Any opposed? So it's accepted.
Madam Chair, I make a motion that we waive our, section 592980 of the South Carolina Codes of Law, to grant a waiver to a high school student exempting from physical education requirement coursework.
Second.
Okay, I got a motion and it's approved
To waive section
To-
exempt.
to
from
exempt a student
Physical education.
from physical education. Is there any discussion? No discussion? Vote. Tommy, you gonna vote? Yeah, for the PE thing. Waiver for the PE. Okay, unanimous. So we've done everything. Could I get a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
I think we need to still